Hello there, guys. Let me talk to you today quickly about one of my favourite movies, Slumdog Millionaire. It is a life story that takes you through pretty much every emotion possible, and even though it's told out of chronological order, it flows beautifully and builds to a gripping climax. However, a friend of mine saw it the other day, and he hated it. The main problem for him, Jamal is bland. There is nothing particularly significant about his persona, and he doesn't go through any kind of change during the film. And I can't really disagree with that. After all, we see him at the start of the film after the events we see during the film have already taken place, so it wouldn't make much sense for him to go through any kind of change during those events. So why isn't this a problem for me? Well, I think it's because this film isn't about who Jamal is as a character, but rather the situations that the character is put into. And the fact that he is a fairly regular guy is what makes this more interesting, because he will likely act in the same way most people would if they were put in his situation. In other words, we can put ourselves in his shoes. And this got me thinking, can bland characters actually be beneficial to a story? I've often heard people criticise The Matrix for not having characters, and I can't argue with that at all. Hell, they talk in such monotone most of the time, I wonder if they're even meant to be human. They seem more like robots. But what's the title of this movie, guys? Is it Neo, Trinity, or Morpheus? No, it's The Matrix, the thing that they are in. The thing that makes this film interesting isn't who these characters are, it's the situation those characters are in. If the characters had had distinct personas, it would have distracted from what the film was really about. Inception, same thing. The thing that we find interesting is the idea of hacking into someone's mind, and so the people doing this are basically normal. Okay, so there's a bit of development of Cobb's background, but again, that's only because it becomes relevant to the dreams that they are in. My dad has always praised the TV show CSI for, as he puts it, not having a soap opera factor. In other words, they never explore the characters' private lives or the relationships they have with one another, because if we did, it would distract from the crimes that they are trying to solve and what they are doing to try and solve them, the thing that the show is really about. I think these types of characters are also crucial in any TV show with a very abnormal character to better offset them. Would we enjoy Sheldon's egocentric super genius talk, were Leonard not there to roll his eyes and try not to listen? Would Sherlock's deducing of a situation be as impressive were Watson not there to ask questions and admit that he would never have thought of that? I believe that this is also the reason why a lot of characters you play as in video games are mute. By not talking, we know little to nothing about their personalities, and therefore it is easier for us to see them as being like us, creating the illusion that we are actually playing as ourselves, or at least a completely badass version of ourselves with awesome marksmanship and amazing agility. Now, with that said, do I think these kinds of one-note, bland, fairly normal kind of characters are always a good thing? Well, no, I do think that a normal persona can become a problem when that normality becomes unrealistic. Wesley Crusher from Star Trek TNG, as a child who was a member of the crew, had the potential to be the type of character that the younger members of the audience could relate to. The problem was, he didn't act like a kid. He never went through any kind of mood swings, he never got angry when things didn't go his way, he never made mistakes, and he never disobeyed orders. He was just an adult in child form, thus making his being a child meaningless. Then there are characters that aren't so much characters as tools. They exist solely to serve the plot, either by getting a character to act a certain way, or to enable them to do something. Aaron from Mean Girls is an example. He exists solely to be the target of Katie's affections, and when he starts to disapprove of the way she is acting, this is her motivation to change. He is the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow that Katie automatically gets together with once things are resolved, and he exists only for this reason. However, I think this is only a problem because Aaron is a prominent character throughout the film, and therefore it doesn't make much sense that we don't find out more about him or his life. This type of character can work when they are either not as prominent in the film, like Rufus in Bill and Ted, or they have other elements to their character aside from them being a plot device. Hermione in Harry Potter, for example, serves the plot by knowing a lot of spells that can unlock doors or just simply enable them to do certain things. But there's far more to her character than just that. Of course, the other option is just to have them be an inanimate object, like the sonic screwdriver in Doctor Who. So the next time you find yourself questioning how complex a character is or what it is about them that makes them stand out from the crowd, just consider that it's not always about the who. Sometimes it's about the where and the what. You wouldn't question the bland setting of a character-driven movie like 12 Angry Men. For anyone that doesn't know, 90% of that film takes place in a jury room. So why question bland characters in a non-character-driven movie?